Hello and welcome to an all new listener mailbag. I am as always Steven. Now today, we're gonna talk about a question I was asked. It was a while ago. Somebody was like, "So how'd you get your name? Why Geek Life Entertainment?" And I thought now would be the time, since I couldn't think of anything to talk about, to give a brief history of Geek Life. By brief, I mean I'm gonna make it last as long as I can. Probably a couple episodes. Just because when you talk about Geek Life, we have to go back. Because Geek Life officially started 2010. I think I bought the domain name in November of 2010. However, that is not the beginning. That is not when the seeds were planted, so to speak. We have to go back further. I'm talking early 2000s. I don't know the year quite off the top of my head. But I had friends. Yes. Even I can get friends. My friend Butch and my friend Ben, they had started an internet radio station. It was called Rural Chaos Radio. And after, I'm not sure how long it had been up and running. I think it had been a little while. But Butch came up to me. Was like, dude, we should do a show for Ben's RCR. Ben is his son, so stands to reason they would. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. So we came up with a show called Freaks of Wrestling, which talked about wrestling. Butch and I were huge fans. We watched all the pay-per-views. I mean, it was WWF, well, WWE now, TNA, the Indies, at least the Indies around here. I think at the time, I think it was Main Event Wrestling, and then it went into NWH, New Wrestling Horizons. Actually, it could have been after Main Event Wrestling. It could have been just New Wrestling Horizons. I can't remember. So we were doing a show / podcast called Freaks of Wrestling, where we talked about wrestling. And RCR also had some other shows. Butch did Mystic Passages, I think it was called at first, and then went to Mystic Pathways with somebody else we know. And I think he did a countdown, if I remember correctly, at one point. And then there were a couple other DJs that did some shows I can't think of right now. I think one was a heavy metal show, where they focused on heavy metal, and something else. Butch did a lot of the programming. He did, he was the on-air personality. He did a few different characters. Let's see if I can remember them all. I remember Jason Greenbud. And Handyman Randy. Fucking bastard was funny. And if you go on YouTube, somewhere on YouTube, there's a Handyman Randy parody of Norwegian Wood by the Beatles. And there was a couple others, but I think we lost them. Anyway, I started Freaks of Wrestling with Butch. We took in, it was a weekly show we did for RCR. And then eventually I got into helping them. I worked on the website a little with Ben, and we got some shoutcast servers to take and expand the reach, so to speak. And I was involved a little bit with it, and RCR was doing pretty good. I mean, when we had the shoutcast servers going full bore, I think we had 2 or 3 of them. We had at least 300 listeners at any given time, and we peaked, I don't know, it was like somewhere around 1,500, which back in the early 2000s, I consider to be good, because you couldn't really take it. It was I'm pretty sure it was before mobile data. It's not something you could listen to on the on your phone. You couldn't take your phone and listen to it. I think it was just at the beginning of like BlackBerry. You could, with Groove Shark, you could do a thing where you downloaded some of the music or some shit. I can't remember. But we had that, and we had a little arcade too. If I remember, I'll show. I think archived on. I think I have it on Facebook. A picture of the homepage of RCR from one point. If I remember, I'll put it right here. If I don't remember, you won't see it. But we had that. Eventually, Freaks of Wrestling turned into the Total BS show, which was either, depending on how you looked at it, was Total Butch and Steve show, since Butch and I did the show, or Total Bullshit, which also could have been. But it went to that, and it wasn't, we did talk about wrestling, but we also talked about other stuff, just to keep us and the listeners a little bit entertained. And eventually, Mystic Pathways became where everybody in the station worked at it. There was one time they used a machine that's supposed to pull for white noise and stuff that they use. And there was a couple of investigations. And, that continued on. Because RCR was around for... It was somewhere in the early 2000s, I believe they started it. And it had to have been around 2010, maybe a little bit before, that RCR went on a bit of a hiatus. But it is back. And it's now, Ben has it as Rural Chaos Productions. It doesn't do internet radio. I don't know if Ben plans on implementing that again. But Rural Chaos Productions does, they take and distribute, and they do some productions of YouTube shows, documentaries, and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, they're a producer of these shows. I know they shouldn't be too happy about that, but, because listener Mailbag evolved from some of the shows that we did back then. Eventually, after the Total BS, we took in, and after RCR stopped airing, we continued doing podcasts. And I think that's really when I decided I liked doing stuff like this, is when I was with RCR. However, back then it was all audio, which is good because I have a face for radio and audio, not so much video. However, I did transition a bit late, but you know, now you're stuck with my ugly mode. So 2010 comes along, and that's where we'll end it. Till next time. 2010, the year where stuff happens, and Geek Life is officially birthed from my loins. Yeah, try to get that picture out of your head. Anyway, until next time, I will see you later.